What's happening, guys and girls? Acrinator here, and welcome to the Counting Pixelated Sheep podcast for the month of November 2016. I had to look at my camera, my monitor thing, just because I forgot. Anyways, I am joined by my partner in crime and co-host for this podcast, Sirjohnmac.
Hey!
And before we get into the articles themselves, there are a few changes, some of which you might notice and some that you obviously couldn't notice because they're not from the layout. But let's talk about the layout first. There are more dialogue boxes to the left. They're a bit larger than normal as well. They take up about the same amount of space as before, maybe a little bit less, but they're larger so that you can have fewer, more detailed descriptions in them. And the little bar above the webcams is a loading bar so that you can have an approximate estimate of how long each segment is going to take, as well as there's going to be one segment at the end of the video where we're just going to be like rambling. Basically, it's less structured. We don't necessarily have an article for it. It's smaller announcements, like I do have one. A smaller bit of like an article we did months back that's pretty cool, but it wouldn't necessarily fit with like an entire segment of the normal traditional article. Anyways, with the articles that we do have, and there are two of them with this new layout that we're testing, is Amazon screws up the Nintendo 3DS Black Friday sale, and there is a new gambling website thing for PlayStation and Xbox One currently where you can gamble as you play. And anyways, let's get straight into the first article, which was the Amazon Nintendo thing. This I found on Black Friday, so it was a lot more like hot at the time. And since then there's been an update, but it doesn't really change the story too much, especially what I wanted to talk about, which was basically Nintendo was planning to have their newest 3DS version go on sale for $99 on Amazon for Black Friday, and that was like obviously a big thing because getting the brand new version of the DS is often a big event, so being able to know beforehand and know that it's, you know, going on sale for Black Friday and you can hopefully get a chance to get this for like a really good price. Like normally it's like close to 200, I think, like 150 at the very least. I don't know.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
I know like the 2DS is the only one that's normally under 100. But basically what happened was that people were able to pre-order this, except they didn't know that they were able to pre-order it, so only a few people stumbled upon this. And this happened like, I think a day or two before Black Friday actually happened. So when Black Friday rolled around and like the sales were supposed to be opening up for the first time, as far as most people knew, they were all sold out, mostly from scalpers. One person even wrote a like customer review on Amazon of the thing, and as soon as I read it, I had to laugh to myself because it's like, you are such a dick. But anyway, the like review that they wrote was, awesome product, so cheap, bought 2 for my kids and 5 for resale, so happy right now. It's like the 2 for the kids, you know, that's fine, like having multiple kids isn't unusual, but buying them for resale I feel like is such a scummy thing. It's not illegal, I don't really think it's ethical, it's sort of like that gray area of like, you dick. Someone like me, I would purposefully not buy anything that's like resaled in that regard. Like, yeah. I don't think I ever have. Like, even for concert tickets, I usually, if it's not directly from the ticket vendor, I get it for like ridiculously low price. Like, it's more than like, well, for the concerts I go to for like $20, then I'm just like, fuck it, you know, I don't need to go that bad. College kid problems. But I found it very funny how Amazon set up this pre-order thing, and like people who set their Amazon accounts to notify them when it went on sale, there was no notification for when it was pre-ordered, like when it was available to be pre-ordered. Yeah, it looks like it was for about 1 hour the day before, so on Thanksgiving. For just about 1 hour, it was like a technical glitch or something, and people were able to successfully pre-order. It's not like after the glitch was fixed, the pre-orders were stopped. It was like it actually went through. And the update to this article was that around like 2:30ish on Black Friday, Amazon like replenished their stock. Unfortunately, that sold out in 5 minutes, mostly through scalpers. So it sucks. Personally, the last DS I got was like the original. No, I got a DS.
Sure.
I got like a DSi because some of the newer games stopped working. But after they came out the 3DS, I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not buying a new DS every year."
Yeah.
I have been tempted to get the 2DS just because how cheap it is, and I do like Nintendo games, especially the handhelds. But I've also been looking at like the Switch, keeping an eye on that if it really is as cheap as they say. But I'll get into that later. But what do you think about this, John?
I think it's kind of funny that the rating on Amazon is actually 2 out of 5 stars right now, and it's not because of like bad build quality or anything. It's just because of the glitch.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I could like, I think for once their outrage is justified. Because, like, Amazon really fucked them over. Like, this wasn't Nintendo's fault at all. They just provided the DSs compared to Amazon that, you know, was supposed to set up the sale for a certain day. They had one job, and they fucked that up.
Yeah.
Although...
No,
Go ahead.
the like, cheapest is almost $170, and it might not even arrive until December 19th.
My God, like,
so
that's part of the reason why people dislike scalpers so much, is because they don't like buy it and then resell it for like, you know, $10 more. It's like double the price. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck off. Go die in a pit of fire somewhere. You know? Like, it's very scummy to do. Like, if you were raising the price a little bit, it's still scummy, but it would be less scummy than, like, $250. You know? Like, what the hell is that? And I believe, were these special editions? They might have been. Yep, it actually was. It was, not only was it a 3DS, and, like, the newest 3DS, which I think is just called the new 3DS. Weird name. You're not going to get confused with that one until they come out with another 3DS, and you're like, wait, which one's newer? But this was, in fact, a limited edition Super Mario 3DS. From the looks of it, it has, like, a felt decal thing on it. There's certainly some sort of decal. I can't really tell what kind of stuff it's made out of. But it has, like, you know, Mario and Toad and Koopas and the bombs and piranha plants and all that. So not only is it, like, cheaper than you're going to find anything other than, like, the 2DS, but, like, it's a collector thing.
Wow. Speaking of collector things, the only new 3DS that I'm seeing at least on Amazon that is actually buying from Amazon is the Nintendo Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer and new 3DS bundle, and it's almost $270.
Jesus Christ. I think I remember hearing about that, and I was like, what? Who would buy this? Although I don't usually bother with Animal Crossing, so
yeah,
can't really talk. I just think it's funny how fast it went out of stock. Like, even when they replenished it, which was like, they don't say how many they replenished the stock, but they replenished it at around like 225, and by 2:30 they were all sold out. Like, within 5 minutes. That's insane.
Damn bots.
Basically, that's the worst part, is I know this is a problem for, like, concert tickets, is like, people create bots to just mass buy tickets the second they're on sale, so you literally can't, because the bot is getting 500 tickets faster than you can possibly get, like, 2.
Yeah. And I feel like if there were either
captcha,
just like some, yeah, like a captcha, or even just some kind of like limit, like 2 per person, although then people would just make more accounts.
That's easy to get around. Although unfortunately, it's hard to justify that, because like the ticket aggregators, like the tickets are being bought, or like, you know, the goods are being bought in this case. So Amazon and Nintendo are happy. You know, unless there's a massive uproar to the point where the customer's like, we're not going to buy anything, we're going to boycott you unless you deal with this. Which also, it's very hard to put pressure on the company, because the goods are being sold in this case. So
Yeah.
as far as they know, it's like, oh, sold out show, sold out 3DS. Except they're not really. They're just like sitting in some scalper's cart. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. You'd really have to have like a really ethical company come around, and while Nintendo certainly has a lot of love from its fans, I wouldn't consider it highly ethical.
No.
They're not the worst, but they're not the best.
I feel like Nintendo's fan base is probably not one that's going to pull off a convincing boycott.
Yeah. Especially with the Switch right around the corner.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I have for this article. You want to move on to the Playverses?
Certainly.
And I think this is going to be an interesting discussion because it sounded like you had a lot to say. So the basically rundown of this is that there is a new website called playverses.com. I believe it's up currently, and right now it's hooked up to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One networks. And you can bid money on yourself whenever you play a game of... Right now it's in beta, so it's just Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and then the Modern Warfare Remastered release. And if you win, you get the money. If you lose the money. And let's see, it looks like there's a few different features that are like currently available. You can like set up your own profile, you can set up notifications, you can create your own match, you can just go into like a certain matchmaking system, which I think is through the website. I don't exactly know how that works. I don't play console. Like the last console I owned was a Wii, so it looks like you can set up your friends and whatnot. So it's from the looks of it, it even looks similar to like Hamachi, just like a slightly more in-depth Hamachi. It's definitely that network server kind of software. I don't know if you have to download anything or if it's just completely run off of a site. But yeah, that's pretty much the rundown of it. I don't think there's a limit or a minimum. Oh, I'm sure there is some sort of minimum, like $1 or something that you can bet on yourself. But it appears like you bet on yourself rather than others. So, well, for one, I feel like this is going to probably be relegated to just like pros doing this.
I hope.
Oh, there's going to be a decent number of people that try it, but they're going to, like, break even if that.
Yeah.
A lot of Twitch streamers I could see doing this, because, if they're big enough with their stream, they could easily be self-sufficient.
Oh, yeah. And the great thing about Twitch is even if you're losing, as long as you have a decent fan base, you're still gaining money.
Yeah.
Donations.
Yeah. Another thing that interested me is I don't exactly know how legal this is, because there's there's been a big crackdown on the gambling websites recently, like over the summer, especially with like the Counter-Strike, especially the Counter-Strike. But there were a few other games I believe that got cracked down on that for, because they didn't comply with like this European country's gambling things or like the US's gambling things regulations. So I wonder how legal this is. Like, they're definitely in a gray area, I feel like. It doesn't seem cut and dry. And as long as this site doesn't gain that much notoriety, it could probably fly under the radar for a while. And just by the nature of what it is, where you're not betting on other people, you're betting on yourself, it's a high likelihood to possibly live out its entire life, however long it may be, depending on how successful they are at garnering attention. Just enough attention to stay afloat, but not enough to get people to come down on you with ban hammers and whatnot.
Yeah. I think they use an interesting game and platform to roll this out on, of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and the Modern Warfare Remastered on console.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is still how Call of Duty is, but I remember back in the day playing Modern Warfare 2, one of the biggest issues was just the netcode not being reliable enough.
Yeah.
host migration, not having dedicated servers. I don't know how it is now, like if they've actually picked up their game and you can play on dedicated servers now, but...
Well, I mean, it's Activision, so they have the resources, but it's Activision, so they probably don't want to do that. They probably don't want to dedicate the resources.
They have the resources because they don't spend money on those extra things.
Yeah. That's another thing, is like, if this site does gain enough notoriety, it's Activision. It is getting shut down if it gains enough attention. Because Activision will jump on that hard. They've done that so many times before, not necessarily with gambling websites, but just with something that possibly infringes on their copyright or messes with their IP. It's gone like that. Can't snap. Anyways.
I feel like these are going to be some of the saltiest games that one could ever consider. Like, I've played Search and Destroy. People get real mad at that, and adding in actual real money. It's like the excuse "it's only a game" doesn't work anymore.
Dude, it's just a game. No, it wasn't. That was this.
It was $5.
That was
red. Bought a sandwich.
I could have got a footlong from Subway.
Now I'm hungry and angry.
It's all because my team fucking sucks. Although it looks like the stereotypical matchmaking for this will be Search and Destroy 2v2 and 4v4. And it looks like they're going to attempt to use some sort of server to set you up with other players that are also doing this. So everyone will be, you can't have any troll that's not in it in terms of money and just like screw up their team, because why the hell not?
Right. I mean, that makes sense. I'm kind of curious just like as to how it all functions, because obviously it's not the PC version. It has to somehow communicate with the PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Network, yeah, that one, and Xbox Live.
Well, Twitch does that. Like, they successfully...
Yeah, but that's Twitch.
Yeah, but depending on... just depending on what they're doing in terms of source code, it might be easier, it might be difficult to set that up where it integrates. Hell, it might even be using the Twitch, structure, skeleton of whatever Twitch is using to do that. I'm not sure. I don't know how easy it is to do that sort of thing. Again, I don't console game, so I don't know how integrated to like websites the PlayStation Network and Xbox Live are.
Right.
Hard to say. Do you have anything else for this?
I don't think so.
Alright, so you want to move on to just like the rambling bit?
Sure.
This should be interesting. There's absolutely no script whatsoever. We're flying blind. Well, I do have a few things, but do you have anything that's like happened recently that you want to talk about?
Well, happening recently, the first thing that comes to mind, whether I do want to talk about this or not, is No Man's Sky got an update.
Yeah. I was considering talking about that because there was 1,000,001 articles, but then there was like 1,000,001 articles, and that usually means like that's a no-go for talking about it because it's already talked about so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if they can do, like, I read up on like the patch notes for what they do. Personally, it's still not my kind of game. I don't think it ever will be, regardless of how much they update it. But if they continue to update it enough, eventually it might be something that's like, now it's worth buying. Now it's the complete product that we were expecting.
I would love, I wasn't on the No Man's Sky hype train, and I am glad that I wasn't. But I would love to see, in a year or 2 or 3, I don't know. Maybe, heck, whenever Star Citizen comes out that year, of No Man's Sky being what they promised this year.
Yeah, right. I mean, all in all, if it, like what they did was very misleading and borderline illegal if you ask certain countries. But I think if they can eventually get it to what people expected it to be, then they can say it's a win. But over time, certainly struggled to get there. Similar to, I guess, like Evolve, although that did shut down after it went free to play. But they did. A lot of people did like the game when it went free to play, not just because it was free to play, but they fixed a lot of the gameplay mechanics and balance issues. It's like, at the very least, it's respectable what they did with it, even though it didn't work. But I think at that point, they just killed off the game. I guess I'll move on to the thing that I wanted to say, which was, you might remember a few months back, if you've been watching this podcast, I think it was like May, possibly even earlier than that, I forget, it was sometime like earlier this year, maybe end of 2015, where we talked about a game that scientists were working with game developers to create something that would allow them to research dementia. Well, apparently, a few weeks after that video went up, the game actually released, so it's been out for like 6 months. Like, it's been out since May. It's called, what is it called? Like, Sea Hero Quest? Let me find my phone. I actually downloaded it. Sea Hero Quest. There's actually a story to it, and it's like, it's basically like the dude has like Alzheimer's or whatever. Your character's father has Alzheimer's or dementia or whatever. And what is it? It's like, it's a very basic puzzle game. Remember how I said it looked like you were on like a river and you would like move back and forth, sort of like that old Wii Fit game, like mini game? Apparently, I was sort of right. You have to move this tugboat down a river, but you have to decide the direction. You like tap a side of the screen to make it turn, and then you can swipe up to make it like go fast, or you swipe down to make it stop. And what it is right now, I'm only like, there's 75, 76 levels total, and then I'm on like episode level like 17, 18, and right now it's just like you go to different checkpoints, and the map, they show you the map of the area beforehand. Sometimes it'll be like fogged in, so you sort of have to like try to make it out and figure out the rest by yourself. And sometimes like 2 will be like the first one you come across, and you have to go find 1, you have to go make them in a certain order, and then you have to, there's not so much there's like a soft timer of like stars that are filled in, and they slowly become less filled in as time goes out, and you try to get 3 stars by the end of it. So far I'm almost like level 20 in that, and there's only a few levels that I struggled to get 3 stars in, and then there's like some special levels where you just like navigate your way through this tiny little arena and try and catch all these stars and whatnot. Really, really solid mechanics, though. Like, I'll probably have some gameplay up top because it's relatively easy to just record it from my phone, since Android Play has that like recording software thing, so you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. And it's actually, like I said, pretty solid of a game. It's completely free, and I would highly recommend checking it out because it is actually a good game, and it's also for a really good cause. Like I think it's like every minute you play in the game, and like minute of actual gameplay, which each level takes like 10-20 seconds tops, at least where I'm at right now anyways, it equates to like an hour or something like that of research, because they are gathering this research. They ask you some questions like how old you are, what sort of education do you have, what ethnicity you are, stuff like that, so that they can get a large amount. And there actually have been a lot of people that have played this already. Like, it's available on iPhone and Android, and last I checked, it had like 2.5 million people that have played it so far. Like, it is a really good game. Yeah, I'm really impressed. Like, they've collected a lot of data in just like 6 months, and this study is going on for 5 years, or I guess this game is going to be available for 5 years before they take it down and just gather all the data they get. And after that, they're going to give it to actual dementia patients that they have to garner some more research specifically for them, though. It's more of a controlled environment, whereas this is just sort of like, whoever can pick it up and do it. So I would like highly recommend. I'll probably leave like a link in the description below for like both the iTunes store and the Google Play store, So you can find that if you happen to be on like mobile devices, you can just click that in the description, you'll find it. I would definitely recommend it.
That's awesome. I'm definitely going to download that. I need something to replace the hole that Pokemon Go has left.
I uninstalled that game like about a month ago now. I just like, and before that I wasn't playing it for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It was just like, it just wasn't fun anymore. Like I haven't even bothered reinstalling it for the 2nd gen that's I think already out. Or at the very least for Thanksgiving, they like massively increase the amount of experience and like spawns you get, but it's like I just don't care anymore. Like what they would have had to have is a battle system. Like I don't see why they did the gym system the way they did. Like it would have worked perfectly fine with a normal battle system. Just, you know, the moves that you get.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe give the player the ability to choose from like every move that Pokemon can possibly learn, and you can like switch out at any time to only pick 4 in a battle, but you do have access to all of them. Obviously there'd be like the best possible scenario for certain things, but I feel like that would be better than just like swiping and tapping, which was very glitched.
Yeah.
Like it was impossible to see the choreographed moves for certain Pokemon. That's why Vaporeon was so fucking broken, because it didn't choreograph its hit. It would just like randomly go boom and you're dead, and it's like, what just happened? But yeah, I think that game died.
Yeah. That game needed a lot of things. That game needed trading, battle, some kind of like just like a friend system or something. And unless you were in like a major city, it was just like, oh, after a week I don't have any Pokeballs, so I literally can't play this anymore.
Yeah. Oh god, I remember when we went to Cape Cod over the summer. There was a Dunkin' Donuts where a Squirtle and like 5 other things popped up, and we didn't have Squirtles, and John didn't have any Pokeballs, so he was just sitting there like, you fucking suck.
Yep.
I had like 30, so I just barely managed to get it, and like everything else, but it was funny. I mean, technically he caught a Squirtle, but it was on his mom's phone. She's like, oh, there's a Squirtle, catch it for me. I'm gonna go get coffee. Whatever works.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was that one Pokestop by that island. I'm not gonna say the name of it because I don't want people like Google searching. Like there's this like one sandy island that's completely uninhabited, and there was supposed to be a memorial there, and we went and kayaked out there. There was no memorial. The Pokestop was there, but the memorial was not. When we went and asked people, they're like, there was never a memorial there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it was.
As far as like I can imagine, it was just an actual memorial that somewhere it was just like in the wrong, I don't know, GPS coordinates.
Probably. Well, it used all the data from Ingress to get that.
Also, when we were on the boat and there was just like Machamp just like standing on the water like Jesus.
I remember that.
That was great.
That was hilarious. I remember we made a few jokes about that. Rest in pieces, Pokemon Go.
I think my best feat in that game was getting the Tauros finally.
Oh. I actually had a decent collection. I had like, I think 70 or 80 Pokemon. Something like that. It was pretty decent. And I only had like one of each for the most part. I think I had a few doubles that I just like forgot to delete for candy. Speaking of Pokemon Go, there was like the game theorists recently put out a video of like a theory of like basically saying that Pokemon Go in the timeline of the series is like before anything, and I won't get into like the reasons why, but it was actually pretty interesting. It was like because of the primitive technology and because there's no battle system and this and that, and it was like, it actually could make sense. At least the way they say it.
They're making lore reasons as to why the game has no features.
Yes, that was actually one of the funnier things, and also they like You know that like famous like Pokemon war that people have theorized forever about, because like in the original generation you had Lieutenant Surge, the third gym leader, who's like, I fought in the war and this and that, and everyone's like, what war? Well, basically they were like, what did the game theorists say? They said like it was a war where Instinct and Mystic teamed up against Valor because of their ideals and beat Valor, and that sort of created the Pokemon battle system that we have now, instead of more like slave labor fighting to the death, rather, which would be like Valor's. It was like there's more detailed, I think, on Reddit with that part, but they did mention that in the video, and I was like, huh.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a good video. I like that channel a lot. If you couldn't tell, it's at least part of the reason that Unanswered exists. It's like, huh. Interesting. Although I certainly try to keep the theories my own. Actually, speaking of Unanswered, I gotta work on the most recent episode for that, but I do have to check out. I want to make sure that there's no like videos explicitly talking about it. First, there's 2 videos that have the potential to be talking about it, one of which I already watched and they didn't really go into it that much, and another one I have to watch and just make sure they don't go into it, because it could be pretty funny. I did have one that was like originally that I was going to put out, but it turned out to be like 2 pages. It was basically like why Sombra from Overwatch is not Alejandra, which was like one of the earlier theories, but then I wrote out the script and I was like, this is 2 pages long. Like this is like a 2-minute video effectively. So I was like, maybe not. And I don't know, I'll have to see how. I'm basically going to have to play devil's advocate a lot. I actually had someone like yesterday from when this is filmed, I think. This is filmed on like Sunday, where they commented on the what killed Gul'dan, and they're like, I forget exactly what they said, they're like, have you considered the Slytherin guard? And I was like, what the fuck's a Slytherin? Like, that sounds like a weird way of saying Slytherin from Harry Potter. I googled it, and apparently it is I think it was Dungeons and Dragons, what they term as the Naga. It's like their version of the Naga, which was really funny to me. And it's like, it also was really funny, especially because that was something that was like on the WoW wiki page for this mystery, because there is a like sub page for like how Gul'dan died, and there was like a little sub thing saying like there were some popular theories early on from fans saying like it could be the Naga because of how like the demon was described, except it was later disproved because one of the books described the creatures as having too many legs, and it's like the Naga don't have legs. And then
not anymore.
Yeah, and basically there was like a dev Q&A somewhere where they asked like, is it Naga? And the devs were like, no, it's not. It's like an actual demon, whereas the Naga aren't necessarily demon. I don't know, it's very interesting, but I was really happy that someone was actually thinking about it though, because that means they at least watched the vast majority of the video and like responded to it, and that's exactly what I want out of that series in particular, because like that entire series is like, here's this question, what answer could I get out of it? And I try not to look up any other theories unless I think that it's already been talked about, because I don't want to like just rehash absolutely everything. I might like take stuff from a theory here and there, although I've yet to do that. But if I do, I'll post it in the description below of like any given video, but I don't want to just like rehash what's already been said. I want it to be like my own story of this entire channel, basically. Oh yeah, and then the last little thing I wanted to discuss, because this was really funny to me. I guess there's like been a lot of rumors lately where the Nintendo Switch's price would be like, what was it, $250? I think it was. Is like rumored to be.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, Nintendo might actually get me back into consoles just for that. Like not like consoles, like I'm not gonna go out and buy a fucking Xbox or a PlayStation. Not gonna fucking do that, but I might get the Switch if it's that cheap, because it's like, it's definitely expensive and I'd have to like save up for it, but I could just save up for it and get it, It's like if it is actually $250, that might actually be worth it. And that was just like a funny little thing that popped into my head when I first read that. I was like, Nintendo's actually making me care about consoles. That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, less than the Animal Crossing 3DS new thing.
Yeah. Well, I stopped playing Pokemon on, what was it, Black and White 2, so I'm now missing out on the second generation Pokemon, which does kind of suck. But at the same time, it's like, they'd only put it out on PC. I wish.
Right.
There is one game that I could totally see on PC, but for some reason they just won't put it on PC, and that's Ratchet and Clank. I would buy those games in a heartbeat. Like, I grew up watching my uncle play Ratchet and Clank like all the way through the first 3, and then I played the 4th one with a few friends once or twice, like all the way through, but split up into different sessions. And then I actually have a really old PSP with the Size Matters one. I think that's the 5th one, and then there's like a bunch other after that, but it's like so disjointed, especially with like them rebooting at least the first game. That's actually the only game that I didn't have like the original 4, because I have 2, 3, and 4, and I believe I've beaten 2 and 3 personally. I didn't really like 4 that much, although that didn't really have Clank in it. Do you have any idea what I did? Did you ever?
I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Fair enough.
And that was kind of like a PlayStation, right?
Yeah. Well, my uncle had a PlayStation 2, so... I don't even have a PlayStation 2 yet. I have the games for some reason. Well, they got them for me, and like I think I know where they are. They're in my room. I know I have them still. I played them all like once.
I haven't owned a Sony console since the PlayStation 1. Oh, yeah.
I do, in fact, own one of those as well. Although, I don't know where that is. I know where my GameCube is, but I don't know where any of the wires for that are. I have my Wii. I don't play it. It's not like hooked up or anything. I just have it. I don't know. Half of the shit I want to play on console is on PC, so I usually just get it there.
Yeah.
But there are those like few exclusives that are like, damn it. I think that's all I got, unless you have something else.
I was just thinking, is it confirmed that the Switch is the NX?
Yeah.
Like, that's the same thing? Okay.
Yeah. That was confirmed like a month ago, I think.
Okay. Well, that's my question answered.
Actually, there was one cool thing that, for the first time ever, a main Pokemon series will be on the Switch, or like on console. It'll be on the Switch, because you know how they do like, what do you call it? Like Ruby and Sapphire, and then they have like Emerald, so they have like the 0.5 of a generation, and it includes like everything. They're doing that with Sun and Moon. I think they said it was Stars is the code name for it right now. And that's going to be on the Switch. I'm pretty sure that was confirmed, which would be really cool. Like, that would be another big reason for me to get it, although I don't. That also begs the question of, like, me trying to get a 2DS and then getting X and or Y. Well, not and or, but one of the two, X and Y. Because I don't want to skip a generation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the desk. I think that's all I really got.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed this month's podcast. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like it, maybe even subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Links for my social media and whatnot are in the description below. Be sure to check out my partner in crime, Sirjohnmac's channel. He posts something every now and then. It's usually pretty entertaining, whatever it is. And also, be sure to leave any comments below about what you thought about the new layout. Especially the whole idea of like having only 2 articles and then having an area to just like sort of ramble. I figured it would allow us to talk about smaller topics more fluently than like if we saved the podcast for just like the larger topics, because where else are we going to talk about this? I don't put up videos that often. Anyways, you got anything else you'd like to say, John?
Nope.
Well, that's all the time we've got for today, so until next time, don't die.